Welcome my good smiling friends, Ify here. Today I will be doing a video which you like to see watching, don't you? It seemed a bit odd that every year people would make a list of 10 fragrances for life. Why would you choose to make this video every year if you have chosen 10 fragrances for the rest of your life, right? But you know, it was obvious, one, for the views, because you guys like watching these kind of videos, and a couple of more reasons. One of them would be that some of the fragrances you might choose now, the next year might get discontinued, so you would have to replace them. Another reason would have to be taste changes. So fragrance that you hate today, you might love tomorrow. Not quite like that, but you understand the idea. So I decided to make this video mainly because I got tagged by Justin Copeland, a person which I enjoy watching, not because of his pleasant content, also because of his calming and positive voice, and also because I feel like we have a bond liking so much John Varvatos vintage, why the other reviewers like more artisan pure. Now, if you want to skip what I have to say now and see the actual list and fragrances, you can skip this moment, but I want to say a few words about Carlos, Brooklyn fragrance lover, and his recent passing away. I didn't know him personally, we weren't that close, but we were friends on Facebook, and I've noticed him posting pictures of him in the hospital lately, so his passing away didn't come as a shock for me, also because this can happen to any of us. Death is the most certain thing in this world. Even so, him passing away was a big hit for the fragrance community because he was one of the bigger channels, and not only that, but you would go to his channel not just because of his great content, but because he had a great personality and he would just spread positive energy when watching his videos. And his tune, I will always remember the Brooklyn fragrance lover tune. What hit me the most was that after thinking, I've been doing this for 4 years now, and during these 4 years 3 big YouTubers, fragrance related YouTubers, have died. And now to the actual list of fragrances. Again, I will have to say something about the list, so again, you can skip this part if you don't want to listen, but I want to explain my choices. Okay, so this list will not be with my most favorite smelling fragrances. I have tried picking the best possible outcome of this situation. That's what I do. I overthink until I get the best outcome of a situation. And with these fragrances, I have looked into the smell, the price, and of course the availability. So I would want a fragrance to be good smelling, nice smelling. I would like it to be available, okay? So if I would have to purchase it for the rest of my life, it has to be available. Also the price. I would have to pick fragrances that are not just very expensive, because I would have to have the budget all the time for those fragrances. So here they are, my 10 fragrances for life. At number 10 is my to-go summer fragrance, Christian Lacroix Bazar pour Homme. This is not your usual citrusy summer fragrance. This is a more of a green, aquatic, and also slightly citrusy fragrance, but this doesn't have that much sweetness to it. Actually, it has just a pinch of sweetness, and that's what I need during the summer. I don't want my fragrance to dry down and become overly sweet, as I've seen with other summer scents. This also has like a green, piney cooling effect, piney freshness to it, which again helps in the high heat of the summer. Also long lasting and very, very cheap. At number 9, it might not come as a shock for the people who have been watching this channel, but I've kept showing you this fragrance over and over again. JS Extem Man. It's for a good reason. When I reviewed it, I thought it will disappear very soon because of its conditioning, but it's still available. It's still very cheap. This costs as much as a supermarket fragrance, but smells like a designer, a proper designer fragrance. Long lasting, interesting, unique. It has a bit of a weird opening, which I can understand people disliking it because it could give you like a sour nail polish vibe. I personally like it because it's way different from the rest of the fragrances, but when it dries down it will become more like a Dior Homme Intense. Again, long lasting, and for me this gets compliments. At number 8, Club de Nuit Intense Man. This has to be in the list, guys. I mean, the smell of Creed Aventus is one of those smells that you want to have in your collection forever. But if you don't have the money for buying Creed Aventus over and over again, this is the best alternative. Long lasting, available, cheap. What more do you want? This has to be in the list. At number 7, Zadig and Voltaire. This is him. Like JS Extend, this is a warm, sweet fragrance, but this is more spicy, more on the woodsy side, more masculine, also long lasting. It's also one of the affordable designers, and for these reasons I don't see why I wouldn't wear this fragrance over and over again. I really like this scent profile. At number 6, it's what Guerlain represents to me. The masterpiece from Guerlain, L'Instant. A unique, very elegant, professional smelling fragrance. This to me represents Guerlain's legacy. I love this thing. I want it to be available forever, and I wanted to have it in my collection forever. I've shown you some pretty good fragrances until now, and the fragrance I'm about to show you will come probably as a big surprise because it's one of the cheapest fragrances out there. Jovan White Musk. And this, I didn't put it in the list just because it's very cheap. To me, this is the smell that I want to have forever because it's so inoffensive, it's so easy to wear, so pleasant. It lasts long. I really love this fragrance. It's so simple yet so addictive. Jovan White Musk. Guys, if you haven't tried this, do yourself a favor and give it at least a try because it's so cheap and it smells so good. At number 4, it's the expensive fragrance. I need to have one of these because not only I love how it smells, and this has to be my to-go fragrance for special occasions, okay? So if I didn't have very expensive fragrances until now, I need to have one of these fragrances because you would want to wear something special when you have a special occasion, right? So this is Creed Royal Water. To me, this is my favorite Creed fragrance. I know people might like Aventus or Viking or any other Creed fragrance, but this to me just smells perfect. And it also has a bit of an old school vibe to it, which fills my needs in case in time I would want to smell something old school, classy, you know, something that gets close to smelling like a barbershop fragrance, but this is not a barbershop fragrance at all, but it gives like a classic masculine vibe. And for me, that thing is great. And this fragrance, it's really, really nice. I really like Creed Royal Water. At number 3, it's more complicated because I have 3 fragrances and I will have to pick one of these based on its availability. And the situation with John Varvatos fragrances, it's really, really a mystery now. If one of these fragrances would be available for the rest of my life, I would have to pick one of these, okay? So for now, I think this is the most available. Vintage by John Varvatos, one of the classic by John Varvatos. Oh, smells so good. If not, I would prefer these 2. If these would be always available, I would prefer these 2. And if I have to pick one of these 2, I would pick Platinum. Dark Rebel has the better opening. I like the opening more than Platinum. But while the opening lasts a couple of minutes, the dry down and the rest of the fragrance can last a couple of hours. And I like the dry down and how this one settles. This one is my favorite. So John Varvatos Platinum, if it's available for the rest of my life, or this one vintage if it's still available as it is now. I think it's still quite available. At number 2 is a fragrance that could be the only fragrance. It's that safe and that versatile and that easy to pull off that I could have it anytime and it could be the only fragrance. It's Fragonard Cologne Grand Luxe. This smells, it has the scent profile of Tom Ford Neroli Portofino, but while that fragrance might come as a bit dated, old school, Cologne Grand Luxe has some sweetness to it. It makes it more modern. It even has a bubblegum vibe in the opening, and this one I actually like. I don't usually care that much for that bubblegum effect which the modern fragrances have, but with this one I really like it. It has neroli, which is one of the safest and pleasant notes ever, and its only downside would have to be its performance. On my skin it lasts around 5 hours, but it projects quite nicely during these 5 hours. It compensates because it has 200 ml the bottle and it costs around 30 pounds. And for this price and for this size you can easily overspray. And I think this will be available for a long time. In my number 1 choice is one of the fragrances which even to this date I don't understand why is it so under the radar, because it has been released I think in the early 2000s, so it's been for a while out there, so I don't really understand why aren't people hyping this up. This is so good. It's the blend in this fragrance is masterful. Loewe Solo to me is like a perfect blend of lots of notes. I mean, if you will look up on these notes, you will see that there are lots and lots of notes, but none of these notes really pop out from the rest, which again makes the blend in this fragrance perfect. Like I said, it has been released for a while now and it's still long lasting. So even if it has been reformulated, it still lasts a long time. Projects nicely. Again, very versatile, any occasion, even though it smells very sophisticated and it's special. It's the fragrance. For me, this is perfection in a bottle. And there have been and there are some flankers of this one. For example, Loewe Solo Absoluto, which I absolutely love, but has been discontinued. Loewe Solo Cedro, which is warmer. And while flankers might come and go, this has remained, so it's still available, it's still on the market. And also some of the flankers might be for the winter, others for the summer. This is for any season. And that was it. These were the 10 picks of fragrances for the rest of my life, and I hope you enjoyed watching the video. And I will have to tag other people now. I will tag smaller channels because what I've learned while watching smaller channels is that I found a lot of useful information coming from these channels, you know, instead of seeing the same usual suspects. And that was it, everyone. Until the next video, keep smelling great.